My name is Edwin Lulu Miheso. I went to school. I managed to study diploma in orthopedic technology from the Kenya Medical Training College, Nairobi. I graduated last year, but from then I applied to different hospitals where there were advertisements. I applied, but I didn't receive any feedback. So because of that, I could not just sit idle in the house. Any hospital you go, they tell you to volunteer. Volunteering and you don't get anything in return. Mind you, you're in Nairobi, it might be very difficult for you maybe to pay bills. So I decided to find out somewhere where I can attach myself in the meantime as I wait for what I went to school for. Each and every day I wake up as early as 5, so I leave the house at around 5:30. When I get in 7, my work is to supervise. I have to ensure that these workers are in their position, they are seated well, they are complying to the rules of the company, they are in the right attire, what they are doing is right, they maintain silence, they maintain some decorum of work. Each and every day, when I come in and ensure there is order, I now go and embark on things like giving them packing bags. I have to give them packing bags as early as possible. I have to give them the ropes, which they use to tie the bottles once they have been packed. As the workers, they come in very early, they wash their bottles. Then after they have done, the big work is here. They rinse the bottles, they put them in a separate bag. So my work is to check those bottles. I sample the bottles. In that sample of 20 to 40 bottles, I find some which are not clean. I have to ask them to redo the work, to repeat the work, then call me again, I check the work. Bwana, ni chupa yako ni chafu. Chukua hiyo chupa yenye nimekurushia huko. Hiyo chupa ni chafu ndio. Kamua vizuri na brush. These workers, they have different speeds. They have different speeds of washing. So definitely when I'm about to finish the 70th person, already the first person is done. So I have to go back. So it becomes a cycle. So when I look at them, they always show me that at one point in life, you are accredited or you are gifted for doing well in school. So they are just as a remembrance that I went to school and I graduated and I successfully completed the course that I enrolled to. So those ones are just for remembrance. That's why you've seen I've kept them where I can see them every day in the morning when I wake up. The rate of unemployment is very, very high. We go to school with great expectations. We go to school with expectations of getting greener pastures. I really felt and I was very convinced in my life that when I went to school, after school I would get what I went for. This coat, to me, this dust coat of mine, it means a lot. It reminds me of all the challenges that I went through when I was in school, just to at least have something great in my life. When I put on this dust coat every day in the morning, it always reminds of me that I'm a doctor, that this is your profession, Edwin. So any moment I put on this dust coat, it takes me back or it draws me back to my first day in school. But because I lack otherwise, I just have to put it on, this dust coat of mine, and continue doing the work that I've been assigned to do. When I use this dust coat to maybe lift those bottles, check, sample, I take it as if I'm having a patient with me. I take that bottle assuming that this is now my patient. This is what I went to do. This is my client. So I sampled that sample of bottles in a very good and correct way, just the way I could be handling a patient. So this dust coat of mine basically reminds me that, Edwin, this is your profession. Edwin, you are called to do this profession. But because this is what I'm doing, so I give that work all the due respect that I could just give to any other patient that I will be attending to if I have this dust coat. So this dust coat is all about memories. This dust coat just give me that sight that Edwin, there is still a hope. Edwin, there is still a tomorrow you have to build, and you are still an orthopedic technologist. The challenge I didn't expect to experience. You know, when you went to school, and maybe you didn't find the job that you went to school for, and your friends knows that Edwin went to school, Edwin went to a medical school, this is what he did, and when they call you and they ask you, Edwin, where are you? No, you don't have to tell them I'm now in a certain company checking on bottles. When I tell them I'm at work, what comes into their mind thinks that I'm in an hospital. And if they think you are in hospital, then they think what comes into their mind is that doctors are well paid. So the demand becomes very high. People now are on you. They want to be helped by you because maybe what comes into their mind is that this man is doing a good job. And they also think that because I went to school and did medicine, maybe this work, they'll choose to pay me higher because of what I did. But unfortunately, that is not what is in the field. You get exactly opposite of what you expected.